All right, peace, family. We back for another video. Today, I'm going to be dealing with the stand your ground law, and this is going to be based off of the BET documentary series that they're doing. I think it started on March the 10th of last month, and it's a 6-part series, and they're dealing with different topics. And the first episode was dealing with the stand your ground law, and the name of the documentary or the docu-series is called Finding Justice. So that's pretty much what we're going to be covering today. I'm going to give my views on this particular situation as far as the case that is dealing with the stand your ground law, as well as give you some background info, brief information on the criteria for the stand your ground law. And to go on even further, don't know if I'm gonna be able to cover everything in this particular video, so we're probably gonna have to do a part 2. But I'm gonna try to get everything that I can as far as the information that I have, that I want to present in one take. But if not, we'll do a part 2. So before we get into that, let me say this, because usually when I do my videos, I forget to, make this statement. So make sure you guys that do watch the video, whether you just happen to be, passing through on YouTube and it catches your eye and you decide to listen to it for however long you choose to listen to it, subscribe, man. Hit that bell so you can get, the notifications and whatnot. Because like I said, I'm going to be posting, different type of content, even though my channel is geared towards, health and fitness. But we will be dabbling into, different topics of interest as it relates to the Black community and, as, this nation or the world as a whole. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and get into this topic. So let's deal with the first thing first. And that's dealing with the criteria for the stand your ground law. Okay, it states that, and you can Google this shit, so I'm not even gonna give you guys any references, anything like that, because you can Google this shit on your own, and plenty of stuff will come up as far as what I'm getting ready to state now as far as, the criteria for this particular law. So it says, under certain circumstances, individuals can use force to defend themselves without first attempting to retreat from the danger. Now, this particular law differs in, some states or certain states. And with that being said, it also states that states differ on how the law applies to instances involving lethal force. Many states retain the duty to retreat when lethal force is involved, and others remove the duty to retreat under all circumstances. So depending on where you're at in this country, will determine how this law will apply as far as the state that you're in. So if you ever get caught up into some shit like this, whether you're on the the one who's dishing out the the lethal force, it that would determine how this shit is gonna play out as far as will you be prosecuted or you won't be prosecuted in a court of law. Now, there are two types of laws as it pertains to what we're getting ready to get into, and they differ slightly. You have one that's called the stand your ground law, which is what this video is going to be about. You also have a law that is called the castle doctrine, which is similar but slightly different. So this is what it says about the castle doctrine. It says the castle doctrine is typically limited to real property, including one's home or place of business, and sometimes even one's automobile. The idea is that individuals have a right to be safe and secure within their own home or castle, and thus should not have to retreat from their home in order to be safe. So, simply put, any homeowners in states that recognize the castle doctrine may use lethal force against intruders without retreating. So that's basically what it's saying. So now that we have, the criteria as far as what this particular law, entails, let's go ahead and get into this particular episode as it pertains to the stand your ground law. So this is a case that is dealing with two individuals. The victim, black guy by the name of Marquise McLaughlin, and an individual by the name of Michael Dredka got into a altercation. Some of you may have seen the video on different social media platforms. One in particular would be Facebook. That's where I got wind of the incident. And then I got more information on that as I watched the docuseries that is on BET right now. So this is what basically happened, which led to McLaughlin being killed. So it says that an altercation takes place at a convenience store between McLaughlin and Michael Dredka because the McLaughlin family were parked in a handicapped parking space, which resulted in Mr. McLaughlin's death. Now, this dude, Michael Dredka, he confronted this man's family. And if you watch the video, you see Mr. McLaughlin, he goes into the store for maybe a couple of seconds. So while he's in there, this guy comes up and he notices that, this man's family is parked in a handicapped parking space. Now, instead of him taking his ass, on about his business, he decides to confront this man's family. So in confronting this man's family, they have some words and whatnot. And at the same time, he's also carrying a sidearm. So when this brother comes out of the store, he notices that, this man is at his car. And, I'm guessing that he's, using some harsh words towards his wife or girlfriend at the time. And, the brother did, as far as what his father said, when I watched the series, he said, look, my son did what I taught him to do, and that's to protect your family by any means necessary. So the individual walks up to Mr. Dredka, and, I'm pretty sure he probably says some words, while at the same time he pushes the man. The guy falls to the ground. And if you look at the video, you can see where the brother turns and he starts walking away from this individual. But at the same time, he's looking at him while he's walking away. The guy is on the ground. He pulls out his weapon or his sidearm, and he shoots the guy in his left side, and I think it exited out on his right side. But he shoots him in the chest or somewhere in that area. And the brother, I think he makes his way into the convenience store, which is where he died. And this is basically the start of how this tragic event, kicks off. Dredka was not arrested. According to the documentary, Dredka was questioned for 3 hours, after which he was not arrested. And the reason why he was not arrested is because the sheriff determined that the stand your ground law applied to Michael Dredka and the killing was justified. Depending on how, this shit goes, would determine whether, the killing was justified or not, as far as, in a court of law. But, as far as public opinion is concerned, that motherfucker, he was wrong. He killed an individual that he didn't have to kill. Because as far as his life being in danger, at what point was his life in danger? Now, you can, use the argument that when Mr. McLaughlin pushed him, and in that moment, he chose to, retreat, or not retreat, but use deadly force. You could argue that. But when the brother pushed him and he fell on the ground and the brother began to walk away from him, in that instance, where was his life threatened? At what point in time during those particular seconds was he in danger of, him worrying about his life? Because from what I saw, and we already know that, video footage does not mean shit in a court of law, because they've had plenty of video footage. And, I don't know what the fuck these motherfuckers be saying. It's like, they fucking blind or something. But you can clearly see from the video that this man's life was not in danger, not at that particular point where he was on the ground and the brother began to walk away, which is when he pulled out his sidearm and he shot this man. So, whether this law stands up in court or not, I'm not going to say that it's not, because so far from what we've been seeing that, it doesn't matter what you show or how the point is argued. The motherfuckers that have been the shooters get away with this shit. So now let's move on to some facts that, this documentary, put out to the people. Okay, it says nationally, stand your ground killers are 281% more likely to get away with killing someone if the shooter is white and the victim is black. Now, process that shit. Think about that. We saw it with Trayvon Martin. Even though the shooter was not, Caucasian, he was he was mixed. He was half Caucasian, half Mexican. And Trayvon Martin was, he was a brother, he was black. I'm pretty sure there are other cases that are like this that have not made national news, but according to this particular information, there have been a lot of cases that are like that, in order for them to say that 281% of the shooters got off because they were white and the person that they shot and killed were black. Now, when you reverse that shit, it's totally different. So it goes on to say that 25 days after the killing, 25 days after the killing, Michael Drecker was arrested and charged with manslaughter, a penalty which carries a sentence of 30 years in prison. Now, in my opinion, I don't think this dude is going to see not one day of time, except for the time that he did, while he was in jail. I don't think he's going to go to prison. I think they'll find some type of loophole or some kind of way to make the person who was the victim look like the perpetrator, and the person that was the perpetrator, the fucking victim. That's the way this shit usually works. But, we're going to hope for the best, but, we're going to plan for the worst. That's the way I look at it. Now, dealing with the information that I just gave you guys, what I also did was, I wrote down a couple of questions. So, we're going to get into that too. So, going back to the altercation, we have to ask ourselves a critical question. Now that we know what the criteria for this particular law is, let's ask this question. Does this law also apply to Mr. McGlotton and his family? Now, the reason why I say that is because of this. According to this particular law, it says that under certain circumstances, individuals can use force to defend themselves without first attempting to retreat from the danger. Now, does that also apply to Mr. McGlotton and his family? Because here you have a man who approaches this car. You have a female on the inside, and I'm pretty sure they had their children with them. Well, let's just say, it was just her. But either way it go, they're sitting in the car. Strange person comes up to the vehicle, probably, using profanity and whatnot. And they notice that this individual has a weapon on him. Does that criteria fit with them? Then you have a brother that comes out, and maybe he sees the gun or not, but only thing he knows is that there's someone that he does not know at his vehicle, and, probably using profanity, saying all kinds of crazy shit. And he's thinking, okay, my family is in danger. Does that law apply to this brother and his family? And can they flip the script and use that in a court of law? Because when you look at the video and you look at how this shit happened, where was Mr. McGlotton the aggressor? He didn't become the aggressor until he approached the guy. But this man pulls up, doesn't pull up to get out to go to the store to handle whatever business he went there to handle. He gets out and he immediately goes to the car and confronts these people. So he's already the aggressor. He's already looking for a reason to do whatever it is that he wanted to do, whether that was physically, verbally, or both. So does that law also apply to the family? And in what way, shape, or form does it apply to this motherfucker when he felt like he had the right to go up to these people and say what the fuck he wanted to say because they were parked in a handicapped parking space? Now, I'm going to get into his dumbass lawyer, but because she said some stupid shit. But any sane person, even if you didn't agree with them being parked where they were parked at, you're not a cop. You're not on the police force. That is not your job. You didn't go to school for this shit. You didn't get trained for this shit. If you had a problem with, these people being parked in a handicapped parking space, and we don't know if anyone in the car, could legitimately use that parking space or not. But let's just say that, they parked there illegally. Why not get on the phone and call the police? Or better yet, why not go in the store and tell the person that's, running the store or owns the store that, look, you have some people out here parked in a handicapped parking space and then they're parked illegally. They're not supposed to be there. That would have been the same thing to do. But here you have this dude who takes it upon himself that he has the right to confront these people, say the things that he said, and then when he gets checked, he feels like he has the right to shoot someone. This motherfucker didn't fear for his life. He just wanted to check some black people. And if it came down to killing one, it was all right with him. That's basically what this shit came down to. In this country, it's like, the climate that has been set, in the recent years, it's like it's open season on black people, whether you're a black man, a black woman, or black children. Just black people as a whole. It's like people think that they can just run over us, walk over us, just beat the shit out of us, take our lives, and nothing is supposed to be said or done, and we supposed to take that shit lying down. And it's gonna come a point in time where we're not gonna do that shit. It's gonna come a point in time where these people that like to shed in the blood, that you're gonna be on the receiving end of that shit, to the point where, since you like blood, you're gonna be given so much blood to drink that you choke on this shit. You're setting an atmosphere up in this country that is not going to work in your favor. It's not going to work in your favor because you have more people of color in this country than you do Caucasians. Now, do I feel like all Caucasians think that way? No, a lot of them. Well, I'm not going to say a lot of them don't, but there are a lot that do not. There are a lot that basically like, look, we're Caucasians too, but we're sick of the shit that white people do as well. Just like you got black people who are sick of the shit that black people are doing. And one case in particular is the shit that happened with, the brother that just recently lost his life, just yesterday, Nipsey Hussle. I'm not going to get all into that because, there are a whole lot of shit that has been said about that. But what it basically comes down to is this, the person that took this brother's life looked like us. And I don't consider that individual to be black. I consider that to be, that's another nigga. There's a difference between niggas and black people. But like I said, that's not what this video is about. So we're not going to, go too deep into that. Matter of fact, we're not going to go into that at all. We'll save that if I do decide to do something on that, but which I highly doubt it. But if so, we'll go into that on with that video if I choose to do something, that's pertaining to that. So I'm about out of time now. And looks like I might have to do maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 parts to this shit because I got a lot of info to put out. But I'm going to come back. We're going to do part 2. We're going to try to finish this thing up. If I can't get it in, in two parts, then, we're going to keep going until, we finish this shit up. But other than that, this is Hakim Muhammad. And giving you my take on, the stand your ground law as it relates to, this case that's dealing with the 2 individuals that, that I was telling you guys about. So until the next time, remember to subscribe, hit that bell notification. And until then, peace.